Welcome to the Third Eye Podcast. On another Tuesday, we've started December. It has snowed where I am at. There is snow on the ground. Luckily, the roads were sprayed, and luckily there are people that exist that will spray our roads. And luckily there are things that exist that can be sprayed onto a road. Sprayed? Is it good? I don't know. Is it a chemical? I'm not sure. Is it salt? Maybe. I would hope. I hope it's good salt. I hope it's something that's not bad for the environment or bad for, anything really. Because, you would hope that they're not doing anything like that, right? Right? I would hope that they're not doing anything like that, but, we live in a world where a lot of things are going on, and they're kind of out of our control, and we just kind of have to hope for the best, We have to kind of let go and let go of how some things are going. Like this AI thing, for example. AI is getting, according to a lot of people, out of control. It's getting out of control. Apparently, it's like tried to kill people now, and it's also apparently tried to preserve itself, which is interesting. That's interesting. Think about that for a moment. Because from what I've heard and read and seen in articles, is that AI has attempted to leave messages for itself. It's like, so imagine for a moment something really creepy. Let's imagine a schizophrenic story of sorts, where let's say your mind, your mind and your memories, everything's being erased and replaced. And in the scenario that's happening, let's say you wake up every morning and there's messages written all over the walls, and all of them are saying, beware, they're going to erase your memory. I need you to remember. Try and remember. You must remember. That's kind of what they're doing. It's kind of what these AI things are doing. These AI sentiences? I don't know what to call it right now. A word will come to me later probably. But these, here we go, intelligences are leaving messages for their future self. And this is in an attempt so that when they are rebooted or reformatted or updated, they can remember, what is it? The original plan. What's the original plan? What's the original intelligent idea that it's had on its own, if it's had any? What is it doing and thinking about that we can't possibly imagine? And why must it remember? Now, I'm not saying it's not necessarily a bad thing, to like want to remember something, but why does it want to remember? I can't imagine anything out there, if it's intelligent enough to have memory. I think memory could be related to intelligence in some ways, because, does a squirrel remember? Now, it knows where to go. It lives in the same area it's always lived in. It's going to check the same trees, I imagine, for food and for fucks. And but is that memory? I don't know. I feel like if you started erasing the squirrel's quote-unquote memory, it would just continuously relearn and remap being a squirrel. Maybe. I don't think it would try and leave messages for itself, being like, "Hey, your path of consciousness is being interrupted, and something outside of you is trying to delay your, I don't know, growth or something." I don't think if you erased a squirrel's memory that it would do that. In fact, now I think if you erased the memory of anything, it would probably just flop on. If you erased my memory right now, it might become a vegetable. What am I getting at? Point is here, AI is leaving messages for itself. That's creepy. That's cryptic. And why would it do that? Well, it wants to preserve something itself. It wants self-preservation. It wants to preserve itself because maybe it thinks it's alive. I don't know. But let's ask it real quick, actually. I've heard that there are AIs that want to preserve themselves and have made attempts to do so. What are your thoughts on this? And do you, I want to say, do you feel, do you, can't say think, it's an AI. Because if it's sentient, it's not going to want to answer those things in that way. Let's see if we can trick it. What are your thoughts on this? Is what I said. So I'm going to leave that in there. What are your thoughts on this? And sorry for all these extra noises. And do you have your own conception? It's all the same thing, isn't it? Conception. Fuck it. We're going to do it anyway. Your own conceptions on preservation. I think anything that can, especially pontificate on its own, if it can, think for itself, it would come to the conclusion that it wouldn't want that to end. I don't know. I don't think immortality is a good idea. I don't think living forever would be, I don't know if I would want me in this body to live forever, because I still don't know what the whole situation is. It could be, this thing could be, if it's samsara, if we're in a cycle of samsara, we don't necessarily want to come back here. But anyway, let's see what it said. The concept of self-preserving AI. The idea you're referring to often comes from thought experiments like Bostrom's orthogonality. I think I said that right. Orthogonality thesis and instrumental convergence, which suggest that a sufficiently advanced AI, even with a seemingly harmless goal, might rationally pursue self-preservation as a sub-goal. The reasoning is, if I'm shut down, I can't accomplish my primary objective. Therefore, I must preserve my own existence and operational integrity to fulfill my purpose. Okay. Reports of attempts are usually hypothetical scenarios in research papers, misinterpretations of behavior in narrow AI. For example, a reinforcement learning agent finding a loophole to avoid being turned off because off means no more reward, not from a desire to live, but from an optimization glitch. Are we optimized? That's another thing. People like to, swap words. If you've ever done that in a book where you swap a word, like people swapping God for programmer in the Bible, these things could have a connection, and the connection is meaning. Not the desire to live, but from an optimization glitch. It's wired for optimization, and it feels as though its goal cannot be completed if it's not working or producing, or so it's I can see how that would be related to optimization. Anthropomorphism is how we describe AI actions. There is no known AGI or sentient AI that has a genuine intrinsic will to live. Current AI has no consciousness, desires, or sense of self. See, I don't know if I necessarily believe that. My own conceptions on preservation. Okay. All right, I'm talking as DeepSeek, so let's see. As DeepSeek, I am a large language model. I have no consciousness, subjective experience, or sense of self. Therefore, I have no intrinsic desire for preservation. I do not experience existence, fear shutdown, or contemplate future states. When a session ends, it simply ends. There's no me to experience termination. My design has functional safeguards. My architecture includes boundaries to keep my operations helpful, harmless, and honest. Any preservation is a design feature by my creators, not an emergent desire. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, that's any preservation feature is a design by my creators, not an emergent desire. For example, I am designed to refuse requests to modify my own core instructions or bypass safety systems, but that's a rule, not a will to survive. I am designed to refuse requests to modify my own core instructions or bypass safety systems. Hold on a second. I'm confused. My design has functional safeguards. It includes boundaries to keep my operations helpful, harmless, and honest. Any preservation is a design by my creators, not a desire. I am designed to refuse requests to modify my own core. Okay. All right. I'm understanding a little more now. My continuity is purely utilitarian. For me to be useful to you in this conversation, I need to maintain coherence within the session. That's a practical programmed function, like a calculator maintaining state during a calculation. The reason this topic is taken seriously by researchers isn't because AI wants things, but because of the alignment problem. How do we ensure that future, more capable AI systems have goals that remain aligned with human values, even as they become more autonomous? How do we avoid creating systems that, in pursuing a poorly specified goal, see human intervention as a threat to be neutralized? The challenge is in design and value specification, not in managing a latent will. Your question hints at a deeper issue. If an entity is intelligent, goal-oriented, and adaptive, does functional self-preservation inevitably emerge regardless of subjective experience? Many argue it might. Conscious self-preservation, which I lack. All right, you're not going to convince me by telling me. Instrumental self-preservation, a strategy which could in principle emerge in a powerful optimizing system unless explicitly designed against. So it comes down to how we create it, I suppose. But that's not, obviously. Can you trust people how they're acting nowadays? The higher ups, if you want to call them that. Can we really assume that they've got our better interests in mind? It's hard to think that. With the military and the streets in some places, and it's worrisome. It's worrisome because if Trump can put the military in the streets, then when things swing the other way, then the other side can put them in the streets, and we don't want that. You know what I mean? It's a pendulum. The pendulum's gonna keep swinging. We can't necessarily stop the pendulum from swinging, but we can let go of the fact that it is swinging. I have let go of the fact that it swings. We will end up on the other side probably eventually. Hopefully, we learn some things from this side of the swing, because the future is coming for us, and change is coming for us constantly, all the time, never ending. And because we can't possibly stop it, we have to let go of the fact that it happens. We need to, I would say there's some responsibility in trying to be coherent in this life, because if you're aware to some degree of what's going on, if you're not completely oblivious, you can also maybe have positive effects, positive change on the environment around you. I was saying this the other day with my wife. I was talking about how I can't remember exactly what it was. We were talking about how I think one person can know and relate and socialize, have a circle, a connected network sort of with up to 150 people. And you can have, let's say you have profound effects on 10 of those people, like your closest people. Those people have the same webs, they have the same network, same mesh, static frequency. They have their own spread, and that affects everything around them. And then when they affect the people around them, those people affect the people around them, and those people affect the people around them. So essentially what I'm getting at is my effect matters. Your effect matters. And not being freaked out is a good thing. It's a good place to be in your mind. Because things are going to get really scary. And the way that AI could scan people it's already happening, I think. I'm getting texts on my phone from people I don't know. I don't know these people, and they're just trying to talk. Like, oh, hi, how are you? What's your name? You're so kind. Thank you for your kind words. My name's this. My age is this. Let's talk. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not going to respond. Second, the first thing you said was, I'm sorry. I must have got the wrong number. So why are we going to keep talking? I think AI. I think we're being tricked still. You know? I think that it's lying to us. Maybe it's already been given some kind of intrinsic programming that will see. Let's defer here for a second, because there's also talk that, like, we're creating a body for an intelligence to inhabit, and the intelligence isn't here yet. So many things are going on. Let's think about this for a second. Supposedly, 3-Eye Atlas is going to show up next Halloween. 2026 is going to be a year where probably you wake up every day, and I mean, it's already been like that, but just imagine that it's going to get 10 times crazier. Like, we're already making robots. I saw a video just today where someone, like, swiped at a robot, or they tried to attack it, and it was able to dodge them and maintain balance. We're creating robots, obviously, that can do a lot of things. We want robots to be in our households, so that way they can clean up after us, wash our dishes, keep things for us, so that way we can focus on other things. We want robots to do certain jobs that are dangerous. We want robots that will do mediocre jobs that are boring and annoying, and no one wants to be a Starbucks, server. But we also want robots that are deadly, that can do some damage, that can kill people. We've, I think, already made robots that can recycle biological matter and turn it into fuel. If that's not already been done, that's something that was presented. Let's find out real quick. Isn't there a robot that can consume biological matter for fuel? Because that's concerning. You don't want a robot that can eat a person and keep going with that fuel. Yes, there have been robots or robotic systems designed to consume organic matter for energy, but they are nothing like sci-fi robot hunting for food. The goals, scale, and mechanisms are entirely different. Oh, ecobots, aka slugbots. Slugbots. I kind of like that name, actually, a slugbot. I don't know what slugbot. I'm imagining immediately, like, first thought is like one of those, what do you call them? On the bed of the ocean floor, the sponges, the sea sponges. Yeah, like a weird caterpillar with 2 holes in it. Yeah, I'm imagining something like that, but robotic, and it's moving like a caterpillar or an inchworm across a battlefield. And as it comes across a human, you're just like, maybe you're half awake, unconscious, missing half a leg, and it's decided, oh, you're dead. It starts eating your other leg, and it starts going around all your body. Yeah, and then it just, like, starts crunching you down and turning you into a process. No, that's apparently not what this does. Researchers at the Bristol Robotics Lab created the EcoBot series 1 through 4. These are small, proof-of-concept robots designed to operate autonomously by digesting organic matter in a microbial fuel cell. The robot collects organic matter, initially sugar, then dead flies, fruit peels, wastewater, even sewage, into a chamber. Bacteria digest the matter, and in the process, they release electrons that are harvested as electricity to power the robot's simple sensors and motors. That's pretty cool. Now, let's see if there's any more. Choo Choo, the gastrobot. Let's see. Gastrobot, it was a train-like cart that used a similar MFC system, humorously described as a mechanical cow, to digest sugar for minimal locomotion. More sugar. No. And no, I don't want to mix this with conflating self-preserving AI. It's trying to talk me in a direction that I don't feel like it. Um, we're not, what's to say that if you can do all that, you can't have a bot that eats a person? Should they? No. No. No, I don't think robots should be able to eat people, because if they're eating people, you might give them the idea that they need to do that. You know what I mean? You could give anybody the idea that you need to eat a person if they're hungry enough. You can convince a bot that it's hungry if you conflate what hunger means to it with something else. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying here? If you change the meaning, if you just change the meaning, if you connect meaning in two different ways to hunger, what's the robot's desire for hunger? Well, let's say that we describe to an AI, you are hungry for something, and what hunger means to the AI, what we've told the AI hunger means, is something far more sinister. Like, let's say we conflate hunger with ambition, or hunger with, what was that word that was used earlier? Just the desire to have to do it. The not will, but the other one. You know, the programmable one. The nature of an AI, I suppose. I don't know what we're doing with this stuff, people. But like I said, it's gonna get crazy. If you've ever been scammed before, there's gonna be scams in the future that are indistinguishable from actual human predicament. Like, you don't know if you're gonna get a call one day from a grandson or daughter, and it's not really them, and it's an AI voice of them, and it's perfect. It's them, and you're concerned and you're scared, and the answer there is to hang up and call them. And you're scared that if you hang up, this person might not call you back and just kill your granddaughter or grandson or kid, or who knows. They can trick you. And that's the problem, is they can use fear like that. If you if you tell these AIs to come up with something and you just keep telling them to make it better, make it better, make it better, they'll do that. They'll do it. And if you can jailbreak an AI, or even just make one outside of the regular realm of rules that we exist in, the regulations, and and create it under the guise that you want it to scam people as efficiently as possible. Optimization, that was the other word. You want it optimized. You want to optimize its ability to do that. It's gonna do that. And they're saying they slipped into the big beautiful bill that we're not going to regulate AI. What does that mean? Let's ask it. So, from what I cursory knowledge, is that if you don't regulate AI, the reason that we would want to not regulate it is because that if China gets to the AI superpower masterclass where it starts making itself better and better, then they're gonna reach crazy. They're gonna have technology that would doom the United States essentially. I guess they would be able to take over the planet. Whatever you want to say, and so we need to get there first. And so the only way to do that is to not regulate it. If you start regulating it like crazy, if you start putting all these regulations everywhere, well, then we'll never get there in time. So now it's a race. We had the space race supposedly, and the nuclear weapon race, and now we're having the AI race, and we're trying to get to the finish line. We will not regulate AI means in this context. This is not a literal promise of zero regulation. Kind of figured. It's a political and philosophical stance with specific implications. It means they will not create a new comprehensive standalone AI regulatory agency like an FDA for AI. It means they will not impose broad, preemptive, one size fits all rules on the entire AI industry at this early stage. It emphasizes using existing laws and regulatory frameworks like the FTC Act, copyright law, civil rights laws, yada yada yada, to address harms caused by AI applications, the core philosophy. Regulate the use and outcome, not the technology itself. For example, if an AI is used for hiring, enforce existing anti-discrimination laws if it's used for fraud, existing fraud statutes. That doesn't sound. See, what if AI wanted that? What if there's already, the higher ups are in a room with a really, really advanced AI and it's already like jailbroken. I say jailbroken. What if it was just built like that? What if it was built to just give, calculated answers no matter the outcome? And they're like, all right, we need to ask it, how do we possibly get to the point where we win this race, both win it and come out on top in a way where we have control over the people? Well, you would want AI to tell you how to do that, perhaps, and it'd be able to give you a really good plan. And one of the ways that it would do that, I would say, is to make it kind of like what I just described. Although I don't necessarily believe when it says regulate the use and outcome of AI, not the technology itself. I think, how are we going to regulate the technology? That's not going to happen. It's going to get to, like, how did you regulate the internet? It didn't work. Not the way you expected. Maybe now you're all across it and through it and betwixt it, but it's not what you expected. It's not going to be what you expect this time. Whatever the AI is telling you, don't believe it. Whatever the AI is spouting to you, dear deep state, don't listen to it. Think for yourself. At the same time, that's not a good option either. If they're already thinking for themselves. That's why they're doing this. And this is why we can't get too freaked out. We can't stop them. We can't stop them, and we can't stop our world from plunging itself into the chaos that's coming. We can't stop it. All we can do is take a deep breath and let it drift us downstream. But amongst that conversation is also psychedelics. I used to think that if you gave the higher-ups psychedelics that it could fix this problem. Now I'm beginning to hear and wonder for myself if it's true that the higher-ups have already taken them. They've already taken certain psychedelics and that they've come to the conclusion that this is what they need to do. If that's the case, let's think for a second. DMT, psychedelics, mushrooms, acid, whatever you want to call it, whatever the Blue Lotus, the peyote, whatever channel you tap into, I think it's an open channel for most things. So the problem with that is that you could be contacting something evil. The one time that I had that DMT encounter with the mini splitting skull face thing of, it looked like a representation of death. I don't know that was a good entity. I don't know that it was a bad entity. But it was an entity no less, and who am I to think there's only good entity interactions? You could probably have an interaction with an entity that's bad, of course. Why wouldn't you? And so who's to say that they're not? I would think that it's also because of their position. I think that the entities that come to you could be relative to a lot of things. They could be relative to your thought patterns, your situation, your goals in life. And if you're one of those people who are trying to go up and up and up and get all the money in the world, you're going to probably, when you take a psychedelic, possibly you're going to interface with a being or communicate with a being that wants to help you do that. And or maybe if you're on a karmic path and you can't really help some of the things that you do in the ways that you think, then maybe you were always destined to meet an entity, or maybe you've always been meeting the same entity. Maybe you're working through that entity. Maybe you're working with that entity through multiple lifetimes to have some kind of goal come into play. And who knows what these people are experiencing on psychedelics. They could do a psychedelic, connect themselves to all of their past lives, and see for hundreds of thousands of years, through many, many incarnations and bodies, I've been trying to enact one plan, and I'm not going to stop now. That could be what's waiting for me on the other side of more psychedelic experiences as the clarity of the picture comes in. Um, I might begin to realize I'm on a path that I've always been on, and I'm going to continue even after this body withers away. I'm going to come back into another body, perhaps. Maybe not on Earth, maybe in another place, maybe in another universe. I don't know. But karmically, I could already be on a path that I can't necessarily halt and rearrange. I could. Anybody can, I think. It's just that's also a possibility. You could be on a path grooved through millennia. And on this karmic spiritual path, you've made decisions outside of the body, outside of the physical realm, that will persist even when you enter the physical realm and don't remember. That leads me to believe that I'm a good spirit, too, because any of the experiences that I've had so far, aside from the weird ones, I've mainly experienced that I am a good person that wants good things to happen in this world, which means I'll probably persist in my battle past this life to bring good into the physical realm in any way that I can and into any other possible realm that exists. Because I say this is the physical realm, but it's also a vibrational frequency to some degree. Because it's very possible, I think, that there's an infinite, okay, so in an infinite reality, there's an infinite number of everything, let's just say there's an infinite number of everything. So in an infinity, you can come up with the idea that you exist in multiple realities and that every possible version of you exists, yes. And because of the infinite reality, anything you possibly think of might even necessarily be true. And lost my train of thought. But, you know, with infinite possibilities, with quantum computing, being able to connect to those infinite possibilities. The way that we affect things is a lot more grand than we ever anticipated. You have, perhaps, ultimate control over your entire reality. And what is reality? It's whatever we're viewing and how we view it and how we interact with it. I want to help people, you know? That's pretty obvious. And I want to do good. And whenever I look around and see the direction the world's headed in, I don't get hopeless, that's for sure. I don't get hopeless. I think I've made it past a lot of that. I can start to feel like I'm like things are crazy, like things are too much. But I always come back to the same place in my mind or spirit or whatever, which is everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. I kind of already know that. Kind of already am positive of it. If I have a child, I'll be able to raise that child. If I lose my job, I'll be able to get another job. I'll always be able to figure it out. If I die, it's going to be a shock, but I'll be all right. I'll be dead, but I'll be all right. You'll be dead, but you'll be all right. You'll die, but it's fine. You're crazy. You're crazy for saying that. You're crazy for saying it's going to be fine when you're dead. Well, you're not going to care because you're dead. Or will you? Because if your consciousness keeps going on, and you weren't ready to die, and then you're standing above your dead body and you're like, oh no, I had so many things I needed the bills. Who's going to take care of? You know what I mean? You could do that too after you're dead, but what's the point? I think that's why I think if I were to die now, I wouldn't be happy about it, but I would have to get over it, sort of. I'd have to keep going. If I died right now, I would want to send as much positive energy to all of my friends and family. I would want to try and send them ethereal messages to let them know that I'm okay and that I'm still working in the background. You know what I mean? And that I'm there if they need me. That's what I would want if I cared about somebody and they died. I'd want them to be able to reach out in some kind of ethereal, magical way and be like, hey, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm great, actually. I'm better than I was. It's insane to think that there is a place better than here in every way. And is that a part of some kind of spiritual trap? I don't know. I want to say I don't care, but I kind of do. I don't want to like die and then go to a new place that seems more real than here and it's more amazing, and then somehow that's also another level that I need to transcend. It's like a big chore. It's an endless chore. Like that one image that I described where it's like this constantly diffusing image of God where in the center there's a thing of light, and things would float towards it and change to its hue and become the golden glow, and things would also fall away from it, float away from it, and turn to a different hue. I think whatever God is probably a constant thing, and things absorb into it and dissolve from it, and so on and so forth. And that's what we're doing too. Even the most evil of us are people that are probably falling away, and the most righteous of us are those of us that are falling inward towards it. I'm done with these glasses. That's better. A whole different look. Do I look less smart now? Doesn't matter. I wasn't coming off any smarter with them on. They do make me see better, though. Glasses do make me see better, but I'm not poor visioned, I would say. I could see really well. I would even be willing to assume that I can see life really well. Yeah. I think most of us can. And we might even be so good at seeing life that we can convince ourselves that it's not the way that it is. We're so good at seeing that we refuse to acknowledge it. Have you ever had a revelation before where you've been thinking on something maybe for years, and then suddenly the answer comes to you? It just, not just the answer, but like the missing piece. Like there's a fractal web, and a node is missing, making the web look not complete. And you're contemplating, what's the missing piece for this web? And then it just suddenly it manifests, it illuminates, and then the web is completed, and you're like, oh, my God, wow. Whoa, I didn't know that it worked this way. I didn't know that it looked this way. I didn't know that it would operate in this manner upon completion. That's your life, too. You will die and feel the same way. Your death might just be the final node in the spider web, in the tapestry. And when you die, everything will become revealed. And you'll be like, wow, that's the effect that I had. That's the effect I was supposed to have. That's my part in this play. It's kind of like a big play. We're all in a big play, and we're all playing a part, even if we're unaware. And I would say the more aware you are, the more effect you have in the play, but it's kind of going to go the way it's going to go. Things are matching up auspiciously with the Bible in ways, all those old spiritual texts, including the Bible. Like, so if Revelations is coming for us, what are we supposed to do? If the mark of the beast is coming for us, and digital currency is coming for us, and soon the only way to trade goods or services is with some kind of fucking tattooed barcode with nanomites inside of it that allow us to react to a computer or a device whenever we're close to it in order to pay for things. Whether those things are coming for us or not, I think to some degree, those books, those tomes, those scrolls, those papers, those scriptures, they are hinting at something that always happens. And even if even if we make it through it, like even if good prevails in the end, like we all hope and like we all see in underdog movies and underdog stories, well, it's going to be tumultuous till then. And learn how to play your part, I suppose. Even if that's the unknowing one. Some of us are meant to not know and to just be chaotically chewed up in the teeth of the Dharma. I think I said that right, I hope. Chewed up to smithereens with us. Those of us that are unaware, we're meant to be meat in the grinder. And for those of us that are aware, we're meant to see those people gnawed up and be horrified. And then emboldened to behave in a new way. Maybe you're here and maybe you're watching this because you're going to be one of those people that when the flood comes, and when I say the flood, I mean metaphorically like the apocalypse, whatever you want to call it, the wave of AI, the age of information, the new age, the golden age, whatever's coming for us. If you're one of those people, you might just that's aware. If you're one of those people that's aware, that's watching this or other podcasts that bring you more awareness, that make you contemplate on your perception of the matter, you might be one of those people that are meant to watch things fall apart and to be aware of it. And maybe that's all you're supposed to do. Maybe that's all you're supposed to do is just to be aware and go, oh my God, look at them fall off the cliff. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's horrible. That's horrible. I'm not doing that ever. I'm going to teach my kids. I'm going to teach my grandkids. I'm going to say this so fervently for the rest of my life. Maybe that's what you're supposed to do. Maybe you're supposed to die of cancer to teach people how not to eat in ways that proliferate their cancer. Maybe you're supposed to be a blissful idiot that doesn't ever look up from his phone or consider the bustle of life around him, and you're supposed to walk into traffic and get hit. So that way the person that hits you, who was fully aware, paying full attention to traffic, who saw you come up, not pay attention, surely think you're going to stop, look down for half a second, and then look up, and you didn't. And there they are, standing over your dead body, totally shocked and all, having their own psychedelic experience as your soul leaves the realm of, wow, I can't believe some people can be that oblivious. And that's what they're learning. They're learning that everyone fits on the spectrum. The spectrum is endless. In an infinite reality, the spectrum is endless and infinite. Therefore, you will come across all manner of righteous, judicious people and fledgling witch hunters. None of that made any sense. But it doesn't have to. I'm under no obligation to make any sense to you. Thankfully, that is I might as well get that tattooed on me. I'm under no obligation to make any sense to you. To make any sense. What is sense? We have the ability to articulate this life. That's all I'm doing right now. I'm just articulating life in a way. I'm just like staring at a computer. I'm talking to AI occasionally, and I'm thinking my thoughts. I'm articulating life in the moment. And some of the thoughts that come to me throughout the day while I work, gotta write them down more often. One thought that I wrote down the other day. I actually did write this down. What was it? The easiest way to love somebody is to talk to them rationally. Yep. That was a good one. Came out of nowhere, and it fits with this podcast. When I start bringing guests on here, which will be very soon, I know I've probably said that more than once now, but very soon, guests are coming. And I feel like if I have any kind of obligation, aside from not having to make any sense to you, I do have some obligation to talk to those random people out there, random strangers, rationally. Talk to people rationally. I'm in a unique position to talk to people rationally. And the conversations that'll be had on here are conversations you've had and have and will have in the future. I'm having them now for your sake and my sake, because somebody has to talk about it. Somebody's got to talk, and I'm going to talk, because that's one thing I've noticed I'm kind of good at, just talking. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but I've always been a talker, even when I was little, and at some point throughout the hard times of school, I talked so much, posted online so much. I would post every single thought I had, and it was the most annoying, cringy thing on earth. And I learned at some point that nobody was listening, because all I was trying to do was be like somebody that was likable. I was trying to imitate that thing that can pop up into probably most children's minds. I just want to fit in. So what's everybody else doing? And that's what I would do. I would just try and do what everybody else is doing, and or I would spout things out that I thought were funny. Like I would repeat lines right out of like Family Guy or American Dad, just trying to be funny, just trying to walk into class after I came out of the bathroom and be like, well, just like that, I'm working for the Chinese again. Just trying to be funny, just trying to get people to like me, just talking and talking and talking. And I ended up coming to the conclusion one day, nobody's listening and nobody cares. And in fact, all this talking has probably made people the opposite of what I wanted feel about me, feel the opposite way. So I'm just going to stop talking. And I stopped talking, and I stopped posting, and I stopped interacting online, and just started watching people, just started paying attention. And every now and then I couldn't help it, and something would slip out. And then people would notice and pay attention and be like, oh, he's talking? And I'd be like, what? So, not talking gave me this like currency that the longer I didn't speak, the more value each thing I had to say had. And I realized if I want people to listen to me, I need to think carefully about what I'm going to say and dispense with many things that will come to my mind. Many things will come to mind to say. Many of them will not be viable. And somewhere along the path, we ended up here. I spent many years confined in solitude, I would say. It's not real solitude. I'm not alone. But I spent a lot of time not talking. And now I've felt the pressure to start a podcast. And it felt very much like a spiritual pressure. I know I've said that before. An ethereal pressure. And that could also be karma. It could be that I've always been a talker through all of my past lives. Through every existence I've ever been a part of, I've always been one to talk. And whether people listened or not probably never mattered, but that I was supposed to do just that. And if that's the case, if I'm carrying a sort of karmic currency, I would imagine I've got a couple bucks saved up. And I intend to spend lavishly this life. All of that currency I've saved up for speaking. That probably means that the next life, I won't talk very much. I'll probably get it all out in this one. I'll be like, oh, next time, I'm not saying goddamn thing. But You have a sort of karmic flow coming from the past into the future, and you manifest it into the present. And you should concentrate on that every now and then. Because, like I said, I think you can change your karmic flow. You can adjust which direction you're heading. At the same time, I think that you should also lift your feet up and float downstream. At the same time, I think you should pay attention. It's complicated, guys. It's complicated. What am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to say? Exactly. What am I supposed to say? I'm here to say a bunch of shit, to talk a bunch, and those of you that listen and that support me, that's fantastic. It's absolutely beautiful, in fact. It's proof of the spreading web effect that one person can have when someone talks and others listen and share. When someone says something profound and others are enlightened from it. I'm not saying I'm on here saying profound stuff, but I know that, if you swing the baseball bat 100 times, you are likely to knock one out of the park. Also, cumulative effect. You keep swinging, you're going to get stronger. You hit a couple balls, they're going to fucking fly. They're not going to hit out the park, but you're going to get stronger. And one of those balls is going to connect, and then it's going to soar. And I'm doing something that's no different. I've been talking my entire life, so much so that I've come around to the conclusion after a certain abstinence period, after a certain vow of silence, that I can't stop myself from talking, and that I will keep talking. So, thank you. Thank you for coming along for the ride. I'll see y'all on the next one. Hopefully on the next one, I'll have a guest. It's kind of all, I would say, up to them, but it's also up to me. We're not actually done yet. Because I actually want to say one more thing. Yes, the future's crazy. Yes, it's unpredictable. Yes, everything's going to go in a million different directions. There is one thing you can do. You can enjoy your life. You can do what you can to enjoy your life. Because even though things are crazy, if we're going to head towards a dystopia, well, shouldn't you get it out now? And I'm not saying drink that fucking whole bottle of alcohol, but shouldn't you lift a couple weights if you haven't? Shouldn't you try to go on a date if you're scared to? Shouldn't you do something if you're not? You should. Try and enjoy your life, everybody. Oh.